Good morning. The Tuesday, November 7th, 2017 regular Board of County Commissioners meeting will now be called to order. We'll begin today with a moment of silent reflection for our first responders, followed by an invocation by none other than Detective Teddy Floyd from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, and then I'll be having the honors of leading us with the pledge. So would you please rise? And as we begin a custom of silent reflection for our first responders, our thoughts and hearts and prayers go out to those victims out in Texas that unfortunately chose to go to church one day. I have a moment of silent reflection for our first responders.
Father, we thank you. We thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. God, I thank you for our commissioners, everyone in their respective positions in our community. God, I just thank you for having and giving us the wisdom to work together as one family. God, we ask that you protect each and every corner of Indian River County. We ask that you bless our families, our homes, our schools, our churches. Let us continue, God, to just look towards you. God, it's been a long week. We've been working good. Let us continue to work together. And we'll be ever so careful to give you the praise. Let us say amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Teddy. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the greatest nation on earth, the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you all. We'll begin with additions, deletions to the agenda. County Administrator?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We would request an addition of an item on Veterans Day holiday observance.
Okay, and we'll place that in
Yep. Under informational items.
informational items. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. That's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, our Vice Chairman, and seconded by Commissioner Solari. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. We'll then move on to the proclamations presentations, and it brings us to a presentation and proclamation designating November 15th as National Philanthropy Day, and that'll be presented by Commissioner O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we have a big contingent here, so why don't you all come on up to the podium? And I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, and then you can tell us about the big day that's coming up. I know that's right around the corner. And this is one of those things that when I talk to other folks about Indian River County, and one of the things that sets us apart is what a philanthropic community we are. And you look at, and it's not just the big glamorous things like the theater and the Center for the Arts and the hospital, but it boils all the way down to some of those things like Safe Space and the Homeless Coalition and the food banks and stuff. We just have so many people that give their time, their effort, their money, and that's really what makes Indian River County special. So this is really a great honor to read this proclamation. I think what you all do putting this together every year, it's one of my favorite events to go to. So let me go ahead and read this, and then you can tell us about what's coming up. This is a proclamation designating November 15, 2017 as National Philanthropic Day. Whereas philanthropy is a unique American tradition, and our American nonprofit sector is the model for countries around the world. And whereas the history of American philanthropy is filled with the names of the earliest Americans, and their efforts spawned universities, free public libraries, homes for widows and orphans, and volunteer fire departments, to name a few. And whereas in 2016, Americans contributed more than $390 billion to 1.5 million charities registered with the Internal Revenue Service, and contributed more than 7.9 billion volunteer hours to these nonprofit organizations. And whereas today the nonprofit sector affects nearly every citizen in one way or another, from museums and concerts, school-sponsored day trips, little leagues and other groups that enrich our youth, to social services agencies that provide food, clothing, housing, and training for those less fortunate. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that November 15, 2017 be designated as National Philanthropy Day in Indian River County, and the board urges all its citizens to recognize the tradition of philanthropy as it continues to improve and enhance the lives of all by promoting the common good. Signed, sealed, delivered this 7th day of November by all 5 county commissioners. So tell us about the 15th.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all for recognizing the importance of philanthropy in our community. As you mentioned, some amazing things happen when you get together with caring individuals and corporations, and I just want to thank my team. We have the co-chairs for our National Philanthropy Day event, which is going to be held on November 15th at the Vero Museum of Art. And this year's theme is A Night at the Museum, Bringing Philanthropy to Life. And we have some actors who are going to be playing the roles of some of the historical figures that you mentioned that have done some of those amazing things that you talked about in the proclamation. So we're very excited about the event. We have 32 honorees being recognized, and as you mentioned, our community is full of amazing, generous people. I think we all feel blessed to be here. So I just want to real quick go ahead and introduce everybody that came today. I have our co-chairs. This is Judy Lemoncelli and Beverly Smith. And then I have several board members from the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Katha Kissman and Shannon Bowman, and then Allison Chloe, who is also on our National Philanthropy Day Committee. And Michelle Peters, sorry, who is also on the board. So I just want to recognize that we have a large committee and a group of dedicated board members that make this day possible. And I appreciate all of your help. And is there anything that I'm forgetting?
Your name.
Oh, and my name is Monique Walker, and I'm the president of the Association of Fundraising Professionals Indian River Chapter this year. So thank you very much for this proclamation. It is a true honor.
And then just real quick on the event, are there still tickets available? How do they get them?
We're getting together. We are we're very close to being full. So if you do want to attend, I suggest that you call us right away.
Okay, and that number would be?
You can call my number, 772-579-0552.
Great. Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Or you can go on the website, www.afpindianriver.org.
Very good. Well, congratulations and have a great event. Thank you.
very much. Here we go. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Have a great event. Oh, great. Have a great event. Thanks for all your hard work on this thing, Shannon. Take care.
Thank you. Count to 7.
All right, great. Thank you. Have a great event.
Thank you. Well, I have the honor of presenting the next proclamation, and I see that we have two of my favorite sergeants who are in the room, Sergeant Gary James and Sergeant Curtis Paulison. So if you'll please come up as we go forward and present a proclamation. I know that you have a little bit of information that we need to have disseminated throughout our great county.
That's correct. Did you want me to speak before the proclamation?
I'll just throw
Yes,
this
sir.
out there. Well, this will be the teaser, and then you're going to do the big delivery.
Roger that.
Thank you, Sergeant. The proclamation reads as follows. It designates the day of November 11, 2017 as Veterans Day. Whereas on May 13, 1938, Congress approved an act designating November 11th as Armistice Day, commemorating the end of World War I and paying tribute to the heroes of that war. And whereas on June 1st, 1954, Congress approved an act changing the name of Armistice Day to Veterans Day in order to also pay tribute to the veterans of World War II and veterans of all wars who have contributed so much to the preservation of our nation. And whereas over 15,000 veterans of all wars presently reside in Indian River County, which is a host of 24 veteran organizations. Whereas veterans residing in Indian River County, individually and collectively as members of the Veterans Organization, contribute in many ways to the welfare and betterment of the social, cultural, and economic life of Indian River County. And whereas the Indian River County Veterans Council, consisting of representatives from 24 city and county veteran organizations, annually observe Veterans Day as well as the Patriotic Observance Days by holding ceremonies at Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary in Vero Beach. And whereas in Indian River County and some of the prominent citizens in the past and present have established Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary as a place to commemorate and pay tribute to all veterans of all wars. And whereas all the citizens in the City Council of Vero Beach maintains, improves, and makes Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary one of the finest veteran landmarks in the United States and pays tribute to all veterans that have served in our country. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that on November 11th to be designated as Veterans Day, and the Board encourages all citizens to fly the American flag and pay tribute to the veterans living and deceased, and all attend the Veterans Day service at 8:45 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary on Friday, November 11th, 2017. Duly adopted this 7th day of November 2017, signed by all 5 county commissioners. Sergeants?
Very good. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody from the county for our picnic. It was a huge success, and we couldn't have done it without you guys. We had about 400 or 500 approximately come in and out of there. I know we went through 550 hot dogs. We went through 150 pounds of chicken. And I know that each and every one of the commissioners and Jason and everybody else had their hand on this, and we appreciate it, and the Sheriff's Department. Teddy was running like a crazy man over there, but it was a great function, and everybody had a great time. The kids thank you, and we thank you also. Veterans Day, actually, I'm sorry, Curtis Paulison, U.S. Army, retired. Veterans Day is actually is on Saturday it's going to start at 09, but as Commissioner said, we have 8:45. Please come around 8:30 if you can, because the Vero Beach Band will be there playing some patriotic songs. They'll also have the drum and fife will be there also. This year, our guest speaker is the first time that we've had a female guest speaker. We have a 3-star Lieutenant General that will be speaking. She was also from the U.S. Army. She was Judge Advocate General of the United States Army. I'm sorry, her name is, I had it written down here. I apologize. I'll get back to that. Anyway, I'm going to let Gary speak real quick in regards to what he's going to do with the color guard, and then I'll speak a little bit more after that.
Yeah, Thanks, Curtis. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of the Commissioners, as Sergeant Paulson said, we certainly appreciate all of the support that you give us with anything the veterans do in Indian River County. Not only here in Vero Beach this weekend, but also in Sebastian at the park. There will be an event that takes place up there after the event in Vero Beach. So we literally run from here to there with color guards and whatnot. So that being said, on behalf of the Vietnam Veterans of America Post 1038 here in Indian River County and the Vietnam Veterans of Indian River County, we'll be providing a color guard for the ceremony this coming Saturday. We'll also have, as Curtis mentioned, we'll have the fife and drum corps, and there will be others. I'm sure we'll have our bagpiper and whatnot, but we just wanted to really thank all of you. You know, we couldn't do it without the county commissioners, with all the members in this organization in Indian River County, 20-some active, and I guess over 40 or more now auxiliary members. There's a lot that goes on, from taking care of the homeless to feeding the people to going into the woods, bringing displaced veterans out of the woods, trying to get them housed. So hua to you guys, and we look forward to seeing all of you on Saturday. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Gary. It's Lieutenant General Flora Darpino, U.S. Army retired. She will be our guest speaker. In the placing of the wreath will be by Corporal Jay Harris, and then also Josh Johnson will also be there. Please, if you can, let the people know to bring chairs. We run out of seating very quickly. The Boy Scouts will be there passing out water. And I'd like to thank the city. Obviously, the city, it's a huge undertaking to do that also. So the city is very good to us. So we look forward to seeing you all there. 8:30 would be best. And again, thank you for everything that you guys do for us. We sincerely appreciate it.
Sergeant, once again, that's this Saturday.
That's correct.
You are encouraging everybody to be there about 8:30 because it does get kind of hectic going down that walkway, and you want everybody to be there and be comfortable on Saturday.
On
and I
Saturday.
apologize for that. You'll please accept this today, and we'll have that all rectified.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. We
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
You guys want a picture? Or? Like that?
We don't know where the pictures go. We just keep taking a lot of pictures.
We don't
We
know
have
if
a
he's really
big
taking them or
collection
not.
of pictures. Next year, we're going to get him batteries for the camera, and then we'll know. No, they are there. Thank you again to all our veterans. The next item is a presentation proclamation designating the month of November 2017 as National Adoption Awareness Month, and that'll be presented by Commissioner Tim Zorc.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Before I start reading this, I'd like to call up to the podium Josh Colcana, Jamie Bond, they're from Place of Hope, and then we have from Devereaux, we have Vernie Mason and Christine Tipton. If you want to come up to the podium, I'll read the proclamation, and then if you'd like to share a few words. And we also have an upcoming event that we can promote a little bit while we're here today. This is a proclamation designating the month of November 2017 as National Adoption Awareness Month. Whereas Place of Hope and Devereaux have upheld the legacy of transforming lives of children and families, and whereas there are currently 1,007 children being served by the child welfare system across the Treasure Coast, 179 children in Indian River County alone. Whereas there are 44 children awaiting adoption without an identified home, 20 from Indian River County. Whereas Place of Hope and Devereaux CBC work diligently with the Department of Children and Families to ensure that every child has a forever family. And whereas children waiting for adoptive parents and families who have adopted these children require and deserve community and agency support. Whereas Place of Hope and Devereaux CBC, along with community partners, embraces opportunities that can potentially change the way society cares for children and youth. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the month of November 2017 be designated as National Adoption Awareness Month. In Indian River County, in honor of this event, we encourage community agencies, religious organizations, businesses, and others to celebrate adoption, honoring families that grow through these adoptions. Further, an awareness of the changes and issues in adoption, and focus attention on those children who live in the shadows of an uncertain future while they wait for forever families. Adopted and signed by all 5 county commissioners on November 7th, 2017. Thank you and welcome, and some of you had quite a lengthy drive to get here this morning, so we thank you for making the trip. Josh, would you like to go first, or who would like to share a few words? And then Scott's going to put up on the screen there's an event coming up on Sunday. There we go.
Do y'all want to go first, or? Okay. Well, you did give our numbers, but I do wanted to let the board know that as of this fiscal year, we've had 74 adoptions to take place for the Treasure Coast, and 63 that was credited to us, because we do stuff for other counties as well. We actually have 9 set for November the 9th here in Indian River County. So we are getting a lot of adoptions done. We have 2 events. We have one on 11/12, which is our National Adoption Day event that we are hosting this year at St. Lucie Bowling Lanes, and it's just to celebrate all the children who were adopted through us and that are currently going through adoptions, kind of just giving them a day to celebrate. So they'll have free bowling, we'll have free food for them, cupcakes and everything when we do it annually. And then on 11/30, we have our adoption orientation. So if anybody is looking to adopt, you can just call, or you know anyone that's looking to adopt, you can call our helpline, which is 772-429-2001. So those are just a couple of things that we have going on. All right.
Great, thank you. And Josh, you want to say a few words about Place of Hope?
Sure. Yes, Josh Colcan, I'm the Director of Foster Care at Place of Hope, and we're excited to be able to serve the community and the neighborhood here. And what we have found is that there is usually more children in need of help than the community realizes. They sometimes think that it's something elsewhere, and we really want people to know that this is something that as a community and as a neighborhood is solvable, that we can come together and we can solve this problem. In addition to the 20 children that you mentioned that are waiting on an adoptive family, we have found that about 1 in 5 of our foster children end up being adopted by their foster parent. So it's not just about looking at children that are immediately available for adoption, but also educating the community about the need for children that have been displaced because of abuse and neglect. We license and support foster homes across Indian River County for that purpose, so that children from literally 2- and 3-day-old babies all the way up to 17-year-olds that have been removed from their home due to no fault of their own. They have an opportunity to be in a healthy family and to heal from the trauma of their past. And like I said, about 20% of those will end up being adopted. So it's exciting to be able to celebrate that this month.
Great, and along those same lines, Scott, if you could put the slide back up one more time. Locally here, if anybody's interested in becoming a foster parent, which in many cases sometimes leads into an adoption of a foster child, not always, but sometimes. This Sunday, November the 12th at 1:30 at Calvary Chapel in Vero Beach, 941 18th Street. And we invite anyone interested, or if you're just curious of how it works, how you can be involved. And there's many ways you can be involved and without becoming a direct foster parent themselves. We've been a foster parent ourselves. We've been in the system, outside the system, on the side of the system, and there's room for anybody. If you have a heart for kids, you can become an orphan advocate in many different ways. So thank you guys for making the trip, and we have a proclamation for both of you if you'd like to come up.
Yes.
You start here. Good luck.
Sure,
Thank you.
this is the easy trail. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good time. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for what you do.
All Wow.
That's skill right there.
One, two, three. And one more. One, two, three.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. Well, the next item on the agenda is a bit of a birthday. We have an anniversary coming up. So we have a proclamation to present to Piper Aircraft on their 80th anniversary, and that will be presented by Commissioner Susan Adams.
Thank
Could
you.
we have
And
the,
gentlemen, if you'd like to come up,
Piper crew, come on up.
welcome.
Thank you.
And it's my pleasure to read a proclamation celebrating Piper Aircraft Corporation's 80th anniversary. Whereas William T. Piper started the Piper Aircraft Corporation in 1937 with the introduction of the Piper Cub. And whereas Piper Aircraft Corporation will be holding the 2017 Piper Fly-In at the Vero Beach Airport on Saturday, November 11th, 2017 to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the corporation. And whereas Piper Aircraft established the Development Center and Manufacturing Plant in Vero Beach, Florida in 1957, where it has been in continuous operations for 60 years. And whereas there are over 80,000 Piper aircrafts flying throughout the world. And whereas the future of the aircraft manufacturing industry continues to provide high-wage and high-skilled jobs in Indian River County. And whereas Piper Aircraft continues to provide innovative aircraft for personal use and pilot training use throughout the world. And whereas Indian River County government recognizes the achievement of Piper Aircraft as a cornerstone of local business and industry. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners, Indian River County, Florida, that November 11th, 2017 be designated as Piper Aircraft Day in Indian River County, adopted the 7th day of November and signed by all 5 county commissioners. Gentlemen, I'd just like to say congratulations, and it is so fantastic to continue to have you guys as a community partner all these years. I believe Commissioner Zork wants to say a few words.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for being here this morning. You know, Piper really is one of the strongholds of business, not just creating jobs in the community, but the activities and the nonprofits that many of your employees are involved in. You support a lot of great agencies and organizations, and we want to thank you for that. Outside of the building, I'd say the best planes in the aviation market. I'm a little bit biased, but we really want to sincerely thank you and thank the owners of Piper, that we really appreciate their investment and commitment in the community. And one slight apology, I know, I think when I went out to the job fair, I tried to see if I could sneak in and apply for a job just to see all the different opportunities that are out there. I made it through the guard shack, I made it through the clipboard sign-in, but when I got into the main room, I got busted pretty quick. So, but it was a great group of applicants. I could see a lot of interest in employment opportunities at Piper. And again, we thank you for your continued investment in the community, and good luck on Saturday. And also, Scott, can you pull up the Piper fly-in information for Saturday? That's going to be a very robust day. We're asking favor for great weather for all the activities that'll take place. It's going to be a great, wonderful day. And which one of you would like to share some additional information about Piper?
Thank you, Commissioner Zork. I'm Simon Caldicott, President and CEO of Piper Aircraft, and I have with me this morning John Calcagno, our Chief Financial Officer, Kevin Keegan, our Vice President General Counsel, and Jim Funk, our Chief Operating Officer. On behalf of the 870 employees at Piper Aircraft, I want to formally thank you for the proclamation and recognizing 80 years of Piper Aircraft. As Commissioner Adams said, Piper was started in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, actually in 1937, November 1937. And in the 80 years that Piper's been around, it's actually produced over 140,000 airplanes, of which 80,000 are still flying around the world today. It's a great honor, a great achievement. And furthermore, we're celebrating 60 years here in Vero Beach and in Indian River County this year as well. So it's a very significant milestone. We're very pleased to be here, and we do appreciate you recognizing us this morning. Thank you.
Well, Simon, we do appreciate the first 20 years in the cold climate, but we have a special affinity for the last 60 years and what you've done here in the community and what your predecessors have done here in the community, not only just with employment, but the energy level about Piper and so many aircraft flying out there that you have your call signs. I'm not an aviator, but you have your call signs out there, and people look up, and the first thing they think about is Vero Beach, Indian River County, the home of Piper. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Thank you. Hey. Uh-oh. Well, one guy, you know. Who's the attorney? Yeah. Ryan?
On three. 1, 2, 3. Get one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
They brought their own. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of September 19, 2017, and the final budget hearing of September 20th, 2017.
Move approval.
Second.
And that's on motion by Commissioner Adams, seconded by Commissioner Zork. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Informational items, we do have an addition on the informational item, but before we get to that, I'd like to call upon our staff and we can just talk a little bit about item 7C, which is the 2017 sea turtle nesting season summary, something that we've done annually, and we look forward to an update. So good morning, Kendra.
Good morning, Commissioners. So just to introduce myself, Kendra Cope, the Coastal Environmental Specialist for Indian River County, and I am going to give a very brief nesting season summary since the season has now been completed as of last week. So to start us off, the clicker's not working.
Needs new batteries.
Okay, hopefully this will work. Okay, perfect. Just so everyone understands, a little bit of the background information about sea turtles in Indian River County. We do have 3 nesting species. Our leatherbacks, which are our largest turtles, our loggerheads, which are our most common turtles, and our green turtles, which we'll get to. I have an exciting story about them this year. But all of these sea turtles are long-lived species. They take about 20 to 25 years to mature. They can live well beyond 100 years if they don't come in contact with any impacts. And that is why long-term monitoring is vital to understanding information about their populations and about any sort of human or natural-induced impacts that they might be encountering. And so the Habitat Conservation Plan, or what I'll refer to as the HCP, was implemented in Indian River County in 2004. And it was in place in order to establish a framework for sea turtle conservation. And the goals are achieved through daily nesting surveys and beach monitoring, implementing programs to reduce human and predator impacts, and implement local and community education and involvement. And so March 1st of 2017 embarked the 13th year of countywide sea turtle monitoring. These data collected over these 13 years not only informs county staff and residents of our area about annual nesting numbers, but it can also tell us a lot about emerging and long-term trends. And so for everyone to know, sea turtle nesting season extends from March 1st until October 31st. And so to start off, let's talk about our leatherbacks, our largest turtles. You can see I'm going to refer to graphs on the next few slides. So just to kind of orient you, you have years on that bottom x-axis, and you have the number of nests on that y-axis. Each of those y-axes is going to be different by major increments. So please take note of those numbers. But so leatherbacks this year, it was not a joke, but their first nest was laid on April 1st. And so it was not April Fool's, but and we did see our last nest recorded in July 7th this year. We're not anywhere near our record year, which was in 2010, but we are kind of in a stable, we've been in this area for a while, so we had 37 nests this year. Now our loggerheads, which again is our most common, we saw our first nest, and sorry that this was incorrect, I just caught it, but our first nest was also on the 1st of April this year. And our last nest was just seen at the very end of September, on September 27th. And so they have a much larger time span in which they're nesting. And so their numbers this year did not add up to last year's enormous record year. But our 2017 total was 5,977 nests across the county. And to talk about our green turtles, so if anyone had walked the beach prior to Hurricane Irma this year, they probably noticed a lot of large, what we would like to define as explosions in the sand. It's just a characteristic of our green turtles' nest on our beaches. We had our first nest on the beginning of April as well, on the 4th of April, and we saw our last nest in early October. And so I would like to point out this constant trend. In 2013, we saw a record year, and then in 2015, we saw a new record year, and so we were kind of expecting to see something big in 2017 because of that biannual nesting pattern. And what we saw blew us out of the water. It was almost double what we had seen in our previous record. So our 2017 new record to beat is 2,632 nests. And if you're looking at this, this is an exponential increase in nesting just over that 13 years. So this is phenomenal numbers for us to be able to report. But to move on to some of the other things that we do under this HCP, just to briefly go over a summary of our community involvement this year, our main activity is our turtle digs, which I know some commissioners have attended in the past. Our turtle dig summary this year, we had 12 events hosted in July and August. We had about an average of 104 guests at each of those events, ranging from up to 155. This is more than double last year's record number of guests. And so at about half of these, we had at least one hatchling to release. These are educational opportunities where we're evaluating nests, and so you might find that straggler, and at that point, about half of those events, we had a straggler to release for the public. And just for anyone's information, for next year, all of these events will be advertised or promoted on our Facebook page, IRC Coastal. We also released 4 turtles that were taken, they had fully recovered in rehab, and they were released in our county. These are also free public events. There's some educational component to it, but we had 3 loggerheads and 1 green released this year, and we had over 100 guests at each of those events. And those are all partnership events with other local organizations like the Brevard Zoo or SeaWorld. And then lastly, all this wonderful things that we do is not possible without our tons of volunteers. We had 25 to 30 volunteers this year that gave over 3,000 hours of help in 2017. So I just want to acknowledge them because they do such a great job at interacting with the community. So thanks.
Well, thank you. That was quite an impressive presentation as far as the turtles finding Indian River County the best place to live.
They love it. They really love it, and they keep coming back.
And thank you for your hard work and ensuring that the turtles keep coming back too. We noticed that we haven't had too many reports of any confrontation with the nests or the eggs, that people are, the citizens and the tourists are respecting the markings and the protected sites. And we appreciate all the hard work in ensuring that they're marked off so that we have that same response each and every year.
Yes.
The welcome mat is lit. Bring your turtles.
And I'd just like to say that I had the opportunity this year to go on a turtle walk with Kendra and some of the other volunteer organizations in the community that do that. And it was a fantastic time. We actually got to see a turtle laying eggs. James Henry loved it. And it's kind of cool to be out on the beach at night with a good reason. So I would encourage everybody else.
There are other.
I would encourage everybody else, next year, if you have the opportunity to do that, definitely do. It's a really unique opportunity that we get to do in our backyard, and I think everybody should take advantage of it. And Kendra, I appreciate you putting that together and letting me participate in that. It was fun.
Of course, I'm glad you loved it.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kendra.
Thank you. As far as the other item on addition there, would you do the honors of explaining the change and the necessity for the change?
Sure, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This year, Veterans Day falls on a Saturday, which happens approximately once every 7 years, right? So our Monday through Friday offices, we observe Veterans Day on Friday, November 11th, and we have various different facilities in the county, and we had initially recommended that our libraries be closed on Friday, like our Monday through Friday operations, in observance of Veterans Day, but then open on Saturday. We received some feedback from the public that there was a preference to have the library closed Saturday on Veterans Day and open on Friday. So we have made that, we're recommending that we make that change and close the libraries on Saturday but open them on Friday. So if you have any questions.
Very good. So the libraries will be closed on Saturday.
Will be closed on Saturday, Veterans Day.
In hopes that people will go to the veterans events and some other events that are happening here in Indian River County as well, too. Okay, and I think that's what compelled the glitch in the first presentation on the Veterans Day print, which will change. Commissioners, any other discussion on any of the informational items? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anyone wishing to pull an item for further discussion? Hearing none from the board, is there any member of the public that wishes to pull an item from the consent agenda for further discussion? Having given ample opportunity and time.
Consent.
That's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, second by Commissioner Adams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The constitutional officers and governmental agencies, we have the Indian River County Clerk of the Circuit Court and Controller, Jeffrey Smith, which has the annual fiscal report for the year ending September 30th, 2017, and I believe he brings good tidings. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to use the old adage, the check is in the mail, but the check that was attached is already in the bank, and we are returning $58,409, which is $26,200 more than last year. I'm pleased to report. I want to again thank my staff for all the hard work that they've done, and the staff of the Budget and Office of Management and Budget Office and the County Administrator with the good working relationship that we have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Jeff.
you. Well, we motion to accept the.
So moved.
That's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next item is the Indian River County Property appraiser David C. Nolte with the annual fiscal report for the year ending September 30th, 2017. I do not see David here. Has he sent a representative? If not, we will be happy to accept.
Move to accept property appraiser's report.
That's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by Commissioner Adams. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next item, I do see the sheriff here, and we have the Indian River County Sheriff Darrell Law, the annual fiscal report for the year ending September 30, 2017. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review the attachments, and this is the balance that we'll be returning this year. Obviously, we still have discussions ongoing with the county administrator about Hurricane Irma and the wrapping up of those other dollars. So this is what's being returned today, and I thank you.
But thank you, Sheriff. Most importantly, though, is all the men and women who served did get paid for their time and sacrifice during the hurricane event.
They did, and we did liquidate several end of the year purchase orders to make that happen, and that will be for another discussion.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Move to approve sheriff's financial report, fiscal report.
And that's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Next item is, and I see our supervisor elections is here as well. The Indian River County Supervisor Elections, Leslie Swan, the annual fiscal report for the year ending September 30th, 2017. Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to publicly thank the board for your support of our budget over the last year. You have the amount we returned. It was an eventful year with the 2016 presidential election and also the acquisition of our new voting equipment. And today is election day, so I encourage all residents of the city of Sebastian and the city of Vero Beach to get out and vote, and so they can try our new voting equipment. And I'm really excited about tonight to see how quickly we get the results with the new modems on the equipment. So I do want to thank you all again for the support that you've given this past year, because it's been a really big year for us.
Will the polls close at 7?
7 o'clock.
So the results should be in at 7:01, you're
Well,
thinking?
we will get the mail ballot results out then, and then as soon as they're modemed in, we have 9 precincts that are participating, and we'll get those results out as soon as possible.
Well, and again, traditionally, the results are in very early. We've generally been the first county to report on the national level, if not pretty close to it. And the local elections, you've always been very responsive and swift. So if you're anticipating a rapid response, that's why I suggested 7:01.
We'll do our best,
It
Commissioner.
doesn't get any bit closer than that. But thank you all. Thank you for your team as well.
Thank you, and I want to thank my staff as well. They do an excellent job.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
You too.
Move to accept supervisor elections fiscal report.
Second.
And that's a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by Commissioner Zorc. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. And finally, we have the Indian River County Tax Collector, Carol Jean Jordan, the annual fiscal report for the year ending September 30th, 2017. I do not see Carol Jean here. I don't know if she sent a representative. Customarily, she does send a big check and a display check as well. That's why I'm a bit surprised, but
I think Carol Jean had a conflict this week. I think she may want to make a brief presentation at next week's meeting.
She will.
Okay, yeah.
We put it on the board for next week. She apologized for not being here, but she is out of town.
well, what we can do is we can have her come back next week for the presentation,
Right.
but we will be very happy, honored to accept her return at this point so that we can get the process going and get it to the taxpayers' needs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we look forward to the presentation, too.
Good, we'll be here.
All right.
Move to accept our tax collector's fiscal report.
Second.
Second. There's quite a few seconds here. We have a motion by Commissioner O'Brien, seconded by myself, Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and we do expect a robust presentation next week. Thank you. Next item, public notice items. Counselor, would you please do the honors?
Thank you very much. We have a public notice of a public hearing which will be scheduled for November 14th, 2017. This will be to consider amending Section 201.07 of Part 1 of Chapter 201 of the Code of Indian River County with regards to equivalent residential units. This will be legislative in nature, and again, this will be a public hearing to be held on November 14th. And with that, I turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you, Counselor. And we now move on to County Administrator items. We have the Sebastian Lionfish Fest, a discussion on that there. Jason?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the last 2 years, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission has a program to try and make folks aware of the invasive lionfish species. And for the last 2 years, the county has served as a sponsor of a local event here, the Lionfish Fest. It's been a tremendously successful event. If you haven't had lionfish, I recommend you go and try it. It's very good. A white, mild fish, and we've had a great event the last couple of years. And since the county staff was heavily involved, the Sebastian Chamber of Commerce had agreed to serve as the fiscal agent to manage all of the revenues and expenses of the event. They were good enough to do that. They have asked that we kind of take that next step in the process. So we are recommending that we kind of turn over the Lionfish Fest to a local nonprofit, a 501c3, and there is an organization called Coastal Connection, I think, Coastal Connections, that we're recommending we kind of turn the event over to. Some of our folks in coastal engineering and in public works have been heavily involved. We anticipate we will have some continued county involvement with county staff because our folks have a passion for this stuff, but we're recommending that the board approve that this transition to the nonprofit, along with some continued staff involvement and in-kind support of the event.
Well, truly, this is the way this type of program is supposed to roll out. If it has to be supported or harbored by local government, it needs to be moved on to another organization that can work exclusively on the program. It's been very successful. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. I see Kendra Cope is here, but we have many people that work on the Lionfish project, and I want to say thank you to everyone that has, and James, thank you for supporting and working diligently, and I know many staff members have worked hard to ensure that there is awareness regarding the lionfish and the threat and how we're going to approach it. But now we will move on, but I just wanted to say thank you.
I just want to say that this is a great event, and I'm glad to see that it's grown to the point where we're able to kind of graduate it onto its own thing, and I'm glad it's continuing and continues to grow every year. More and more people come. It's a fun time. I mean, this division's just doing really fun stuff between turtle walks and lionfish. It's the place to be. So with that, I'd like to move approval of staff's recommendations.
Second. That's a motion by Commissioner Adams, seconded by Commissioner O'Brien. Any further discussion? Any member of the public wishing to have input? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Yes, and one day the Lionfish event may be one of those 3-day events, and may compare up to the Frog Lake Festival or the Sebastian Clam Bake Festival. And
You never know. It starts out small and they grow and grow and grow.
let's see what happens. Next item is in the utility services area, and that's item 12G1, which is the Pinson Subdivision Petition Water Assessment Project, the adoption for the resolution number 4. Good morning, Vincent.
Good morning, Chairman. For the record, Vincent Burke, Director of Utility Services. This is the Pinson Subdivision Petition Water Assessment Project, resolution number 4. Just a quick history. Back in 2016, we came before the board to do Resolution 1 and 2. We had the public hearing, and on September 20th of 2016, we had Resolution number 3, which set the special assessments for the 15 benefiting properties. Staff was then directed to go out for bid. The bids came in a little bit higher than what we'd anticipated, and so we decided to use a labor contract to come back to the board for approval. We got approval from the board in the beginning of February 7th, 2017, with the work authorization to use Blue Goose Construction. They're a firm that has bid on and has been awarded a labor contract to where we, the county, purchased the material to save on the sales tax, and then we hired Blue Goose Construction to do the labor portion of the install. Blue Goose did the work, submitted and obtained the DEP clearance, flushed the line, about 1,000 feet of line, put in a loop service off of 20th Place and 42nd Place, 20th Avenue and 42nd Place, installed one fire hydrant assembly for the 15 benefiting property owners. So staff received the final invoice from Blue Goose on September 29th, and all liens to be released on October 16th of this year. So today we are bringing the updated costs, which are on the agenda packet, that delineate what the board had previously approved in February of this year, which is just around $63,449, but the actual cost of the project came in a little bit under that at $59,178.71. So there is a deficit of almost $11,000 between what the estimated costs were and what the actual costs were. And staff included the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 206, which basically reads, "In no event shall the final assessment exceed the amount originally assessed." So the amount originally assessed in Resolution 3 was a per parcel cost of $3,227.13. So staff today is before you to recommend approval of the attached resolution and assessing the benefiting properties, $3,227.13, and approve the application for payment to Blue Goose Construction in the amount of $38,980.98. If that is approved today, staff has 15 letters that will be submitted certified mail to all the benefiting property owners, letting them know that they can connect. They have 90 days to pay that amount interest-free, and if they choose to finance, they can finance for up to 10 years at a 5% interest rate APR, which is set by the board. It's about $34 a month. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions of any?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the utility department for finally bringing water to the Pinson subdivision. As it would seem during the process, the water there really wasn't drinkable. It's nothing that I'd like to give my family. And I think that the utility department did a great job getting the water there, understanding that they came in over the original estimate, but a lot of things lately have. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 4 with a per parcel cost of $3,227.13 and approve the application for payment number 1, final payment to the Blue Goose Construction LLC.
Is there any further discussion here on the board? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this item? Seeing none, on motion by Commissioner Solari, seconded by myself. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Vinnie. Appreciate that. Next item is County Attorney Matters, which is the termination of the lease agreement for Safe Space Incorporated for the safe space of Indian River County in the county courthouse.
Thank you very much. In April last year, the board entered into a lease agreement with Safe Space to utilize a room in the first floor of the courthouse. It's come to the attention of the clerk that Safe Space has not utilized the room as much as we had anticipated. The clerk has a greater need for the space for things like court administration. Therefore, in order to create the space that clerk has requested, that the board terminate the agreement. I can note, and Jeff is here, certainly the clerk is willing to work with Safe Space in the future, just in the event they need a room or some space, if the need exists. But certainly because of the issues, we just thought it'd be better to terminate the lease and move forward with court administration being able to utilize that room. County Attorney just simply recommends that the board is wishing to consider to terminate the lease, to direct the County Attorney's Office to send the 60-day notice consistent with the lease agreement. And obviously Jeff Smith is here.
Move staff recommendation.
Second. That's a motion by Commissioner Solari, seconded by Commissioner Adams. I do see Jeff Smith is here. Jeff, did you want to add anything to the
Yes,
discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
I want him
thank
to go
you.
back to work. And that's why.
He's got some recordings.
No, it was my idea to bring safe space into the courthouse originally because of the need. I still want them to have a presence in the courthouse, and I've spoken with Tom Manwaring, and we are going to work out a situation where they can have some space when they need it. We'll be bringing that back to you once we figure that out to get another lease for them. Correspondingly, though, the Sheriff's Department, the court security people there have requested they need additional space for several reasons, one of which I'm not sure if you're all aware, but Senator Stubbe has submitted a bill in the Florida legislature this year to allow concealed weapons permittees to carry weapons into any area, including the courthouse, except for they have to listen to the instructions given by court security. So that becomes a problem. And so the Sheriff's Department has requested the use of that office space to further provide security for the courthouse and to accomplish other reasons that they have legitimate reasons for. I spoke with Lieutenant Harrington, who is in charge of the security at the courthouse, and he's the one that made the request, and he's very determined to keep the level of security up at the courthouse. That we don't have any issues where there has been at other places. And so I agreed with him on that position. And as I stated, I still want safe space to have a space somewhere in the courthouse. We will work that out with them and then come back later for another lease for them.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the public that wishes to add into this decision? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Jeffrey. Next item is Commissioner Solari's item. I believe he wanted to discuss the post-hurricane debris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a spreadsheet, which I'm going to be asked to be put on the Elmo. And this deals with the cost to Indian River County taxpayers of removing the debris after the hurricane. And sometimes the job that our staff does in Indian River County is, actually the great job is done, is passed by just because time goes by and we go on to other things. And we all know that we had a lot of trash after the hurricane, and as of roughly October 29, 2017, we had removed, I believe, more than we did during Hurricane Matthew, a total of about 100,906 cubic yards of material from the streets of the county. And a lot of people knew that because we had that up on the website and we tallied the amount. But what I didn't want to get lost is that we did it in a very responsible, and we did it, the staff did it, in a very responsible and financially prudent manner. There was a lot of things in the news about other communities having trouble getting vendors to remove their trash. It seemed like when the state got involved, that tossed a big wrench into it. And a lot of people, a lot of communities paid more. There are some communities that used Ashbrit, which was a vendor, and sort of average, and these numbers aren't exact, I didn't tally them with a CPA, but using reported numbers, Ashbrit had an average of about $23.50 to remove a cubic yard. Monroe, unfortunately, had an average of about $55.80. And Indian River County, with its contract in place, had an average of about $10.61. So if Indian River County, for its cubic yards, had paid what Ashbrit was paid, the total would have been about $2,400,000. If they'd been in the unfortunate situation of Monroe County, which got a lot of help from the state of Florida to remove their goods, we would have been paying about $5,600,000. But the reality is we paid close to $1,070,000 to remove this trash. So I just have to point out, because local governments have been basically almost attacked, their home rule attacked by the state of Florida and a lot of legislators and others in the state of Florida over the last couple of years, and we're almost looking forward to that today. But the state of Florida gave a lot of assistance to Monroe County, interfered with their contracts, and the result was a price more than 5 times more than we paid in Indian River County. I think that just shows that the local staff that is trained and ready and competent to handle local issues like this are often the best place to do the best job. And I think once again, Indian River County showed that. And I think that the state has more than enough to do with the state issues, and I would be very happy if the state of Florida recognized that they ought to focus on really statewide issues and allowed what, again, is a very competent, dedicated staff in communities like Indian River County to do their job. So I just want to end by thanking everybody in Indian River County who had a hand, not just in the debris removal, but everything to do with Hurricane Irma. I certainly appreciate the job, and I believe the entire commission does. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Solari, when you followed the money, obviously, and you did so well in giving us that spreadsheet, but I just wanted to offer additional special thanks to not only Jason and of course Rich for the handling of the debris and every employee that was involved. But more importantly is the subcontractors also followed the money to the debris. And when Monroe County began their process, we started beginning to have a threat of losing our subcontractors. And I want to know, Jason and Rich worked extremely hard and diligently to ensure that everything worked according to plan. And it was some strenuous times when some of the subcontractors found that they could also get 3 and 4 times the amount of money to move the same materials that they moved here in Indian River County. So thank you to the subcontractors who stood behind that and stood behind the contractor's contract. So thank you. Anything further here from the board? Well, we've had a nice brief meeting. This meeting is adjourned.